Right, good morning. Welcome to Fasting Space. So nice to have you here this morning. I hope you're doing well. It is December 26th. Made it through big holidays here, and now we are finding ourselves in a fantastic place. We got a week left here, 6 days to close out 2025. And I say, let us dive in on some strategy, create the strategy for ourselves that is going to launch us forward into 2026. I think most people, see if you feel that way, most people just going to kind of float through this space without paying much mind to the health goal, and then the new year hits, and then people are saying, okay, now we're going to dial up. So I say, let's build some momentum. By the time January 1st rolls around, we can have 6 solid days, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, each day filled with meaning and purpose, taking steps toward better health, bringing everything into balance. Hopefully you had great balance over the last few days. Whether Christmas is your thing and you're doing that, or you're on some other path, say, here we are now at this space. Start dialing in. Maybe you got more holiday coming on New Year's. You say, we don't have to have every day be what we would call a perfect day. We got many different domains to balance. The emotional space with food and connection, and then physical space in the body. We're talking about a fasting space in the body. Such an incredible opportunity to burn through energy. It's like if that's blood sugar we're trying to burn through, if that's body fat we're trying to burn through, our body is doing its best to provide resources for us. And a big part of our practice, what we're trying to do in health, is figure out how do we partner with the body so that we can move forward in health together. So strategy session today. Dial us in on this beautiful winter scene. Now, this was a couple weeks ago at a lake near my house before it really got cold. Love using this type of background, just hopefully inspiring us all. Get outside, take a walk, get some fresh air. So good for our mental and physical health. All right, so we're going to try to dial in. If you want to think of this as a couple different fasting strategies, that's one way to think about it. To me, the strategy is all one big continuous spectrum, and I like to look at things like a dial. And so we can add just the amount of fasting into our experience that we feel comfortable with, that we feel excited about, never feeling overwhelmed about anything that we're doing. That is a big part of the strategy, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to build a practice for life, a practice that can be a strong, stable foundation for every other good part of health that we're trying to do. And so we never want to create any kind of environment that is overwhelming, that would lead us to say, oh, this type of thing is too much. Because what I want to show you is that fasting can be approached very thoughtfully and gently. It doesn't have to be very intense. It can be intense, so this is the beauty of it. It has a surface. You kind of dip your toe in the water out there with the geese. But then there is a great depth to it, which means there is a great strength and power to it. So I tell people, ease into it. This is the strategy, because as you ease into it, you give the body space to open up and start releasing that energy. The body strengthens. And as the body gets stronger, you increase in your ability to practice it. This is why fasting is a practice. Fasting, one way to look at it, it's just an open space without food where there would normally be some food. So if we're going to dive into the first part of the strategy, I call it snack saver, right? So even without opening up a total practice, this would be an easier way to start in a day. If you're new to fasting coming through, if you say, oh, I'm not ready to flow so far out of a holiday space, would just look at focusing on meals. Say, if we're not taking away meals, we're not missing anything, no giant space. We're just saying, stop the snacking or grazing in between meals and keep the food at meals. This is opening up more spaces in the day without food. This is what we're trying to get toward with fasting. Have a meal and then nothing coming in. What this does in the body gives the digestive system a chance to just process what was there and then have some space. We don't appreciate how much work the digestive system always doing for us, and we don't appreciate that when we're eating, we're sending hormonal signals to the body. Shouldn't be burning any of that energy storage. So even if we're just eating meals, not even pure, fasting space, as we say, that's like a space to start. And if you'd normally be flowing through the end of the year without that sort of perspective, maybe this is a balance that can help you tie a lot of things together. So I'm going to focus on the meals and then have this practice of shutting that down, little mini fasting spaces between the meals. And then maybe part of that could be eliminating late eating. That's like a key part of fasting. As we're trying to open up more space, say a lot of people say like to open up space in the morning. If you normally have a bedtime snack or late eating, say cut that out. Then we're just opening up that overnight space into a wider space. So here's kind of like the introductory practice if we're heading forward in a fasting space with a fasting mindset. Going to do a couple good things in that way. Does cutting out snacks, does that help you get less calories? Yes, it does. And so calories, like one component, but it's not the only component that matters. Try to balance a couple things. Yes, reducing calories helps on a weight loss path, but opening up the fasting space also helps, where the hormonal structure of the body is in alignment in that fasting space. Insulin dropping out of the way, body fat no longer blocked. Then we can actually get at that energy. Fasting, like a key that opens the door of the cell where the energy is stored. So that's where we want to start. So if you're good on this, we're going through our dial. And if you say, okay, I can definitely do this, I want some more power, I want to open up some legitimately increased fasting space, then I say level 1. You can dial in anywhere on this practice that you want. What I consider level 1 fasting is what people call 16-8. Looks like eating 2 meals in a day. In some fashion, we're trying to extend that overnight fasting. Everybody fasting from a certain perspective overnight. We're just sleeping, so that makes it easy to say, if we got done with dinner at 7 and then we went to bed and we got up and we're having breakfast at 7, we say, well, there was an interval 12 hours without any food. And look, the body flowed through that space, no problem. Body processed through that last meal, shut the GI system down, and then it's starting up the process by 12 hours, running off the storage system. You kind of think what the body's thinking, like, well, we don't get some breakfast in here, we're really going to have to start cranking up the fat burning, right? Burning through that energy. That's what it's for. So body fat is for filling in the gaps without food in our day. One of the big problems, the big struggles that we have in our society is we just don't have any gaps. We have been given this perspective that the human body just needs to eat all the time in order to keep itself going. And I want to give you a perspective here on the channel to realize that the body is strong and powerful, has immense energy resources, and the practice of learning how to fast is the practice and exploration of how to open up that energy and get access to it. Very empowering process, so that you realize that you are strong and resilient, not so dependent on constant food as you thought. Give you access to the energy that is present within your own body. It's such a beautiful, empowering process. This is the way to start at it if you haven't leaned into it. Maybe that looks like opening up that breakfast space and just having a coffee. This is what I model on the show. Is like, hey, we can just get up. I'm working. We're doing our work. We're doing things. We just have a coffee. Flow very pleasantly through that space. Common barrier to a fasting space is people say, oh, I'm hungry. But the interesting thing is, people say, well, what would you rather skip? Would you rather skip a dinner or a breakfast? And almost everybody pick a breakfast. But this is the point in the day where you've gone the longest without eating. Someone just ate lunch, and then a couple hours later, nobody wants to skip dinner, for example. Paradoxically, it's actually eating that makes us more hungry, usually, in the big picture. And our hunger in general is usually based on patterns. So we start a practice, we leaning in, we take the easy wins. And if breakfast is the place, it's like, I'm pretty content just having a coffee. Hey, here's a great strategy to end this year. Start leaning in on 2 meal a day eating. That's like a foundational level. Someone else could say you could eat a breakfast, lunch, and then fast through the evening, a more difficult practice for most people, very powerful practice. But the easy space, the easy win, fast through that breakfast, you can push it out to any point. It doesn't have to be all the way to lunch. Could be kind of a brunch and a dinner. Every extra bit of time that we open up a little bit more fasting space, giving the body a little bit more of an opportunity, a little bit of a head start on burning through the energy that we're trying to do. That's the weight loss path. We want to lose weight in the body. Means we're trying to take that part of the body, the energy that the body has taken in that it didn't need right away. It stored it for us, waiting till we need it. So here we give the body the opportunity to release it in an extra couple hours. So have you done this type of practice before? If you haven't done it, obviously ease into it very gently. I always tell people you're not signing any contract. And so you just try it out. Fasting, a curiosity and exploration of what is the body capable of. Fasting like a mirror, showing us where is the strength or where is any weakness in our ability to access that energy. And then we just find that line, we open up, and we can flow into that space. You say, hey, I really am feeling okay with this. I always tell people, gotta walk before you can run. Start at the place where you're feeling comfortable and dial it in. This is kind of the shallow end. Then we start heading into the deeper water with the level 2 practice. Could look at it one way as like a 23-hour fast. Some people call this OMAD, 1 meal a day eating. If you want to dial things up, now we're getting into some pretty significant fasting space in a day, much more than most people would ever normally get. But still within a level, we're still eating in a day, and so this is not some extended fasting period. Many times this might happen to somebody. What if you got ill? We think about, look at in an illness where you don't even feel like eating, and you can flow through that space. Really what's happening there, fasting space, I call healing space. Because in a fasting space, the body is using that to give a boost to the metabolism. It's giving a boost to the immune system. The immune system doing so much work to protect us from illness, fighting illness. When we're eating, immune system working to protect us in that space. Body says, hey, we got higher priorities here. we are dealing with this illness right now. Don't need to, this other energy just shows you. Body knows where energy is in the body. Body can get energy that we have stored for it. So body use fasting to bring healing. So if you can practice a fasting like this when you are compromised, when you are ill, how much more can we utilize this process when we're strong and feeling good? I tell you, we can use it to great advantage. Level 2, 23 hours. You know, if you ate dinner one night, you say, hey, I'm going to try to flow through that breakfast, drink my coffee, flow through lunch, use a fasting aid. I've got a video on the channel, fasting aids, things like a fiber supplement, things like any kind of calorie-free beverage, all kinds of things that we can use as a crutch to get us through that space as we practice it. Staying hydrated, the big key. And then get till dinner the next day. Opens up basically a day between meals. Still eating in each day. And we try to stay busy, stay productive. At any point in that space, if it's the first time you've done it or for any reason, fasting always voluntary. Like I said, nobody's signing any contract to do it. You can always stop. And I encourage people, do stop if you feel unwell, if you have any trouble with it. Fasting to me is openness. It's physical openness in the body that's giving us a mirror to create mental and emotional openness in our life. Should be a very focused, positive, contemplative sort of space. If it's feeling overwhelming ever, like a struggle, I always just tell people, find that line, wherever you find the line, and say, hey, this was something new for me to experience today. And I think I will call it at that. We try again tomorrow, or try again in a couple days, you know. A fasting practice doesn't have to be every day, but it could be if you want it to, you know. So this is the strategy, very flexible. Fasting, some people will approach very rigid and dogmatic. They say, oh, I'm a person who does OMAD, or I'm a person who does 16-8, and say, try to make every day look the same. And there are certain benefits to that. And if that resonates and helps you in some fashion, then I tell you, of course, to do it. But the real benefit to me is the flexibility of it, which is that, you know, some days we can really lean into it. And you say, I want my 2025 to end in like a powerful fashion. I'm going to really try to do this level 2. And, you know, you could take a couple days at 16-8 and then a couple days OMAD and like really lean into it. And then you say, and then I'm going to take a little break on New Year's. See, very flexible. And then that is going to bring everything into this balance, setting us up like a springboard into 2026. Most people, you know, not doing something like that, I would say, waiting until next week. And I say, let's get a head start, you know, let's charge up. Have you been doing the December challenge? I said, I gave the weight loss challenge for December. Try to lose 5 pounds through December. What has that been like? Has that helped you flow through a space? Here would be a way at the end of the month, finish strong, dial in, use a practice like this. And then level 3, a full fasting day. This is kind of the end of simple fasting, you know, fasting very, very deep. Go beyond this fasting in an extended period. At the end of simple fasting, just taking one day out of your life and fasting. I put use aids to do it and plenty of grace. That's the big thing. A lot of grace for yourself. Fasting, I have described on the channel, which I love so much, is like a gift. It's been definitely a gift to me. It's been a gift to my medical practice to help people find healing through fasting. Such a mind-blowing process to me. Fasting is nothing, and so the idea that nothing can help someone to heal metabolically, amongst other ways, has been a type of miracle for my medical practice, and then for myself personally, been an incredibly empowering practice. I would have never said, you come to me, 10 years ago or whenever it was, before I learned about this, say, oh, you can just fast for a whole day. I think, well, that would have to be awful. That's what I thought. I would not want to do that, because the only time something like that would ever happen, we associate it with, oh, I got sick and then I couldn't eat. And we associate the two. We say, oh, not eating must be sick, must be unpleasant. And then I met the first person who did it, who I've told a story on the channel, a very devout Hindu woman who fasts every week, and she loves it. She's like, oh no, it's my favorite day. It's a wellness practice. That's what she was teaching me. This is a wellness practice, giving the body a rest, giving the body open space to do all the maintenance projects and healing work that the body's capable of doing, that we don't often get to see because we don't train the body to do it. And being able to see that is actually one of the most inspiring things that I've seen in medicine, which is that the body has healing capabilities that we haven't quite appreciated. There's a barrier to entry to get there, which is the hunger experience. If you're coming through, I got the playlist on the non-live side of the channel, Hunger Series. Give all my best thoughts on reframing hunger and using every tool that we have to both survive it mentally, and then change our frame of reference so that we come to see that hunger is not the adversary that we thought it was. Hunger really is an ally. And it's something that we have more control of in the long term than we have appreciated. There's a quote that is coming to me. I forget who said it. It's something like, people overestimate how much they can accomplish in a week, or something like this, but underestimate what they can accomplish in a year. This, I think, is certainly true. We want to be realistic. As we're thinking here, we want to dial in on 1 week. How much can we accomplish in 1 week? Well, we don't want to overload ourselves with pressure. What we're trying to do, create a good experience, build some momentum, really, because we underestimate. What can we accomplish in 2026? A tremendous amount in 2026 is possible. Success, if you're trying to lose weight, for sure, can have an incredible experience in 2026. We're looking for the first small win this week to set us up for that success. But that metaphor, we can kind of take into a hunger space. Like, people overestimate, the intensity of this fasting experience, but then underestimate, what is possible in the long term. People think hunger is like a static process. And if you would like to step along through this with me on the channel as I'm streaming weekdays, what I want to see, what I hope you can see, is that as the body opens up, that hunger is actually a dynamic state. It's actually controlled hormonally in the body. Ghrelin, especially, the hormone that is controlling our hunger experience, which is really about the patterns of eating we have, and that the body is trying to prepare to handle all the work of food processing. So as we start to see, how is the body really working? How can I integrate my life and patterns with the way the body is working so that we can flow through a space without struggle? This is the ultimate goal and one of the great potentials of fasting, especially for someone who has ever struggled with hunger, with food cravings, with feeling in a cycle where they can't stop eating, and this is leading to weight gain and dishealth. Say, fasting, ironically, is the process that can bring this into balance, that can help you get control over it. Because as we rope off areas in our life where we say no food is happening here, then we're teaching the body, I can actually just shut down this hunger system. I can shut down the digestive system, don't need it. And this is what can help to bring everything into a very calm focused and centered space. A really, really peaceful, restful space in the body. This is what I was telling you with the wonderful person that I first saw using fasting as a wellness practice. That this is actually the day where I rest and reset. Total mindset shift, right? From a place, someone seeing fasting, oh, look how I am depriving myself, someone in society would say. Look how much I am suffering or struggling toward it. You know, this is the type of mindset that we typically bring in a weight loss space. Struggling on a stair stepper in a gym, struggling toward it, working so hard to prepare all the healthiest meals. Look, a fasting practice, I say more like this actually. Letting go. Here's the work you have to do to fast. Just open up. Right? And just saying that, does that help you take a deep breath? Does it take the pressure off? Like, oh, all I have to do in this space is nothing. Right? This is why I love to say I have a fist. I say stop struggling for weight loss like this and start being open to receiving it, because weight loss can come to you like a gift. That's why fasting is a gift. Think of receiving it. It's a nothing that is a gift. Open space in the body is like a gift to the body. When the body is overloaded with energy, it's like, where do we put all this stuff, you know? And the body is doing its best because energy is there to serve us, empower us. Most of the human experience has been marked by people struggling to survive. Body only knows how to take energy and try to transform it into something that can serve us. And so if we are giving the body this energy, it will store it for us. And we are trying, but that doesn't mean that it's the healthiest for it in the long term. The body's making a gamble. That's how it is, you know, programmed or however it is. Body says, well, this might come in handy someday. And so we want to create that someday. Make that someday today. Maybe you have a goal in 2026. If you've never done something like this, level 3, fasting for a day. I like to say fasting for a day, even aside from any benefit to weight loss. Can you lose weight fasting for a day? Of course you can. Very, very powerful practice. I like to just say it's a human experience, you know, to say, like, to realize my body is so strong. I don't even need any food in this day, right? Maybe you say, I want to have that experience. You don't have to get there. Maybe you don't get there this week or even this month. Maybe you have a practice of building it up so that by 2-3 months from now, your system is strong enough to handle it. You know, someone can dive right into this space. If you're really fired up, you're like, I get it, I'm going to try it. Some people just try it and can do it. No, this is the thing. It's not that far away. It might be far away. It might be far away in our minds, but also, like, one day you got sick and you didn't eat and it just happened, you know? So it's not that far away. And then when we take every illness out, when we have every negative thing out, and we realize, oh, fasting exists apart from all that. It exists apart from being ill, actually can be in a place of great health and strength. It exists apart from every societal expectation we have that comes in about how often someone should eat. That actually is a very personal process to realize, hey, this is about me, my body, the energy I have within me, my relationship with food, my relationship with the body. It doesn't matter what any culture says. You know, we are in the midst of a culture of consumption is how I see it. And so I look at a fasting space as like creating a little island in the middle of a culture of consumption. Our little refuge from it, where we say, hey, here is the boundary that I'm creating from myself to protect the space of the body from the excess that is coming in. A beautiful path toward wellness. I think as much as anything, I think if I'm having a fasting day, which I might do a level 3 once a month. That's my personal practice. I personally lost all the weight I ever wanted years ago by learning fasting. Now I do not want to lose any weight. Now I practice fasting because I really love it, but I just dose it in bits, because fasting is a tool, and you want to very appropriately use it. So here would be a nice problem to have. You lost all the weight you ever want, and you love the fasting, but you can't even do it as much as you want because, it's too powerful. So that would be a long-term place that I hope everybody gets to that wants to lose weight. Say, hey, I use this as a tool to accomplish a metabolic purpose, and then now I'm going to dial it in. Here and there. Many other benefits beyond weight loss. And that's, I dial in on it just to feel better. It's good for the digestive system. I look at it like a spa day. You could spend hundreds of dollars and go get a massage, and you could float around in some bubble bath or whatever. You see, there's like just a total relaxation day. Okay, or you could just practice fasting. That's what I look at it for myself personally. Total resting space coming into the body. Don't have to do all the shopping, cooking, cleaning, all this sort of stuff. Give resting to the body. Open up that space instead of even having to drive somewhere to some special place. Say, I can just sit here in this space. Open up some space for contemplation and getting all the work done or whatever it is. Or even if it's a day off, take it as a day off. That fasting, a space to magnify the benefits of something like that. So that is a potential on any of these levels, but especially level 3. Whoa, big space for the body. By level 3, then we're really activating these deep levels of autophagy. I've got some videos on autophagy on the channel if you're not familiar with that. Autophagy, I think one of the very most underappreciated functions of the body. Something that if people knew what it really was, people would be like, I want some of that. If autophagy was a pill, it would be the super GLP-1, mania for it. The natural process that exists inside of every cell in the body for cellular cleansing and recycling and rejuvenation. Triggered by fasting. Can't buy an autophagy. You can exercise your way a bit to it. Certainly can. You can lower your barrier to entry to it by clean eating and eliminating processed foods. But the fasting process is really the trigger that brings you into this space where the body says, oh, look at this space where we can burn through the excess and all the dysfunctional stuff that the cells accumulate, just burn through it. Did the session the other day where we watched the fire burning in the countryside, and we see our metabolism like that fire, and we can burn through that space. So this is what I say we want to activate in our 2026, in this week as we're gearing up for it, this incredibly powerful space in the body where we are building strength, building the lifestyle, creating the environment, the experience where we can flow on toward better health. I was out on this lake, so it froze over, and I've described a lot on the channel that we want to be like a sailboat, and fasting is like just harnessing the wind. Let fasting do the work. I was out and somebody had an ice skating, I don't even know what you call it, an ice skating sailboat. It was like a sled with ice skates and then a sail, and they were sailing around the frozen lake on the skis. Just looked hilarious. Looks like so much fun. So even in the winter, even in this frozen season, we say, oh, we can't be sailing on our sailboat in the winter on a frozen lake. You get yourself one of these ice sailboats, and you sail yourself right on. I always say winter is for fasting. It's like, think of like animals hibernating. They're going months and months all through the winter on the stored energy. This is giving us a pattern of the type of natural process that can be happening in the body. It's like, oh, look to nature, look at the season, look how they're flowing through a space without food. They stored up energy in the body, just like we have energy stored up in the body. And now they're taking this season of resting, like literally resting, and letting that energy flow back out. We can be like that. And we can emerge from the winter in a leaner and stronger fashion. Something like this, giving us the mindset to do it. I want to share this quote with you from Winston Churchill. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. That's a very Churchill quote, huh? So this is giving us many good mindsets. Success is not final. I love that, to dial in on it. Okay. Say the joy is in the journey, right? The journey is not a point. It's not somewhere we're trying to get. In this space, fasting space, what we're trying to create for ourselves is not just a number on a scale. It's not just one accomplishment, because let's say we accomplish that. We have the success. They say, I got the weight to the place we wanted it, right? But then the same practice that helps you get to that place is the process that helps you to maintain it, is the thing that helps this be a long-term sustainable thing, so that there doesn't have to be a next thing. This is especially what I want for people. People going from thing to thing, you say, what is the thing? And we're always saying, what is the next weight loss thing, the next thing? I'll just tell you right now, there does not have to be a next thing. We have every health practice that we need. Fasting, a base layer that can take the pressure off, and then we can build every other good part of health on top of it. We add on the healthy movement, the healthy eating, the mindfulness practices, the mental health practices that build a process of total wellness. There doesn't have to be a next thing. So success is not final. Success is not one point in time or a number on a scale. It is a process that we walk. And then the second part, failure is not fatal. So I think so many times we get into a space where people try something, you say, oh, it doesn't work out the way we want. And then right at that point, say we give up. It's like we quit right at that point. And I don't even like that word. We say failure. Like, failure is learning. This is how we reframe it. Say, oh, I tried to lose weight. It didn't work. It was a failure. Okay, you just learned something really important in your life, which is like, okay, this was the path I tried. Didn't work. Right? We learn from it. And this is the part of the journey. This is why the road is like this, a winding road. We're learning the path, figuring out our puzzle, right? We all have pretty much the same tools, but we have a different set of circumstances. So how do we take these tools? Anytime you're going to try to do something of value, it's like usually not a straight line. Going to be failure, so-called, is part of the process to learn, like ultimately the path that's going to bring you there. This is why fasting, I'll tell you, any weight loss goal that you have, fasting is a process that can bring you there. And in and of itself, pretty much sufficient to bring you there. And then as a component of every other process, we don't have to completely put all the burden on just to one thing, but it's a tool that can take the pressure off every other sort of thing. A way of being in the world. This is what it is showing us. Fasting, part of a wellness process, a way of being in the world. The courage to continue that counts. So this is what we want to build a courageous mindset. I've got the picture of the mountain that we've been flowing towards. Say, hey, 2026 is our mountain. We're walking toward it. We are going to persevere. We're going to make it over that distant horizon. Get over the hurdles. I've got books and all kinds of things I'm going to be bringing in to this space, giving us the tools and mindset to accomplish every good thing we want in 2026. So, very happy to have you on the journey with me. I want this to be your space, so share in thoughts, comments, reflections as we go through this space, and we will walk forward in wellness together. I hope this is a great framework for you for this week, and then as a strategy to dial in as we head forward in the new year. Have a beautiful day, and I will connect with you back here next week. Have a good day, everybody.